Are you ready for a reboot? Welcome to the Sheila Mac Show, reality at its finest. History reminds us those hit hardest often become the change makers. This year, we've all hit crazy economic, social, and emotional rock bottoms. We all get knocked down. Something hits globally, locally, personally. It affects our health, finances, our relationships. We have to recreate a business or career. Each show, Sheila and her special guest will be sharing their reboot stories, guiding you with real solutions to upgrade and up-level emotionally, mentally, physically, spiritually, and financially. Here on NBC's KCAA Radio. If you're ready to pull yourself up by the bootstraps and bra straps, enjoy a listen. Here's Sheila.
Welcome to the Sheila Mac Show, reality at its finest. Here we have real people sharing real stories and actionable steps to help you reinvent, rebuild, and reboot your business and personal life on your terms. I'm your host, Sheila Mac, and today we have special guest, Jonathon Kendall. He is the co-founder of VirtualWorkerNow. Welcome to the show, Jonathon.
Thank you so much for having me. I really appreciate it.
Yes, and I'd like to, if you could share a little bit more about what Virtual Worker Now is and a little bit more about yourself, that would be wonderful.
Yeah, thanks for that. So my background originally is in copywriting, which led to digital marketing. I was kind of a digital nomad for a while. I lived all around the world and was working from my laptop. And then I eventually became an entrepreneur working in digital education space and did a lot of business coaching and masterminds for a company called MentorBox. I was ended up becoming one of the owners of that company and also was a CEO. And then throughout that process, we needed a lot of video editors, a lot of customer support, a lot of assistance, for the team as we were growing. And so my now business partner, he's Canadian but also Egyptian, and he said, "Oh, I can find you video editors." And he had a big social media following in Egypt, and he said, "We can probably find someone that's just as good and probably more cost effective for your company." And so we started hiring video editors, customer support agents, virtual assistants, through him. And eventually I kept on giving him so many referrals that he said, "Why don't you come on as my partner? Because this is getting kind of crazy. We're growing too fast." And, that was about 4.5 years ago. And we're at a little over 400 employees now. And, we've kind of hit a sweet spot in the market. And basically what we do is we provide virtual assistants, but virtual assistants is such a catch-all term. So we have different departments. So we do video editing, graphic design, copywriting, executive assistants for, busy CEOs and executives. We do cold calling, like, setters for real estate companies and that sort of thing. So we have different departments, and basically we find, really highly talented people that just live abroad and can help you with your company.
Oh, that's wonderful. And that's always something that I need for sure. So we'll have to talk after the show about that. So, and then I'd like to ask you to share about a time in your business and or personal life where you experienced a tough situation and how you got back on track.
Yeah. So I had a couple big things happen all at the same time about 1.5 years ago. It was really interesting. So I was actually working for the parent company of MentorBox, and we raised a bunch of money and we bought a bunch of companies, and I added that skill set, which was incredible. The one company that I was a part of ended up becoming just one of 10 companies that the parent company owned. And it was a great opportunity because I learned how to raise a lot of money and manage an even bigger team and be more of an executive role. But in the negotiation process of my contract, for the next year, that's what really sparked me to become my own entrepreneur, not just a partner in the business, because we couldn't come to an agreement. And I said, "Okay, I think I'm worth this." And they said, "Not so much." And I said, "Okay, well, I'm going to do it on my own." And so I really went, just jumped off the cliff. And I said, "Okay, so I have these two businesses, one that raises money and one Virtual Worker Now." And we had with Virtual Worker Now this one client that was at the time like 70% of our business. So they had over 100 people with us. So we basically were their entire company. We were like, they had executives and us, and we were their main payroll. And then for my other company, things were going well, but then the economy crashed and it was very difficult to raise money all of a sudden. There was not all this frothy money in the market. And at the same time, I had I'll keep it private, but a problem with a business partner, something happened with there. And so I shut down one of them, and simultaneously that company that had 100 people with us went out of business because they had it was an e-commerce basically conglomerate, and they had a really bad Christmas season. And one bad Christmas season, and they forecasted they need to raise some money to kind of keep going, and they couldn't go. So I shut down the one company, and then the other company that was like, going to be my saving grace, lost 100 of our staff, like 70% of our staff, like in one fell swoop. And so it was very, very difficult. And I made a change in my mindset. It's so funny that it always happens, right? It's like your mindset is the first thing that changes. And I had this idea that I was going to scale these companies and sell them, right? And maybe I still will do that, but I shifted to this idea of an infinite game, right? Like the goal, Alex Hormozi says, the goal of business is to stay in business. And I think that if you deconstruct a lot of the wealthiest, families or wealthy people, they kind of stick to one thing for a really, really long time, and they become such experts and so well networked in that industry or in that position that over time it's like, wow, this is amazing. Like when I travel the world, I think of some of these companies that I see everywhere. And I think, wow, like I can't believe they're everywhere. And then you look back and it's like founded in 1875. You're like, okay, well they had quite a long time to get there. And this company is like 4 years old. It's like, hey, we're going to be fine. And so I switched my mindset to infinite game, and we started saying yes to basically everything, which was, we kind of needed revenue right away. And so we said, hey, what other products can we offer? What other services can we offer? And in hindsight, we've actually kind of pulled back. And I don't think that strategically is the best decision for companies, just to like add products and add services. But, the Pareto principle is strong, the 80-20 rule. And so we had the clients that we had, they were willing to, expand with us if we could offer different things. And we said, hey, we'll just expand with them. And, I'm really proud of this. We were able to keep 70 of the 100 people because we didn't have to fire them. We found them other clients within the first couple of months. Nice. And we kept them on payroll until we found someone. So we didn't even have, revenue for them, but we just kept them on payroll because we were, dedicated to them. And so it was quite a journey, but I guess, a summary of okay, something bad happens, like this too shall pass. It's going to be okay. Think long term. And, how else can I serve the people that are still with me and kind of get through to the next step? And then since then, like we've just, been like a rocket ship growing. But, I really think that was end up being like a good thing in the company, to be honest.
Wow, that is quite a situation. And thank you so much. It was beautiful that you were able to keep those people on as well, because that's a tough thing to do. Whenever you are running a business, you're paying for people's livelihood. So that is a big thing, and something that always was hard for me. I think that's why I really like the opportunity to have some virtual help versus complete payroll where it's all my responsibility as an entrepreneur, or if you're just starting out or building and growing, then you can adjust as needed over time and grow, but you're not the one solely responsible for that person. And so that takes a lot of pressure off, and you can just play the game of whatever you do best instead of worrying about all that other stuff that, like for me, there's only so much you can do, and there's things that I don't do very well. And I am really happy to hand over my books to the CPA every year. I'm like, here, take the numbers, have fun. It's not my thing. And yes, I could do it, but it would take me 20 times longer than it takes her. So that is definitely a situation that makes it easier. So what would you advise people right now in this interesting time with the inflation and everything happening as we're trying to stay in business, grow our businesses? What would you advise for getting started with hiring virtual help?
Yeah, I think it depends on whether or not your problem is an operational problem where maybe your customers are not very happy because you're not able to keep up with your promises. And so being able to distinguish between like, hey, I'm a little overwhelmed, like marketing's going well, sales is going good, but I'm kind of all over the place, then more of a traditional operations VA, I think, will change your life. If your problem is, I need more revenue now, then we call them BDRs, like business development relationship specialists. And so they're going to cold call, they're going to be on LinkedIn, they're going to be doing DMing on Facebook and Instagram, and their KPI is more sales. And especially if you're, coach or high ticket product or B2B, having someone that they're every single day, they're giving you a report. This is how many people I reached out to. This is how many conversations I had. This is how many people are interested. This is how many people are scheduled on your calendar. Whether you're in financial services or, real estate, or it doesn't really matter what industry you're in. If you have someone that no matter what behind the scenes is doing that work that, like, it doesn't mean you should be doing it, but someone should be doing it at your company. It should be doing, especially if you're not doing paid marketing on Meta or YouTube or Google Ads, like where are those leads coming from? And I think that a setter VA is a really powerful thing. And we're seeing a lot of traction with a lot of our clients where they think, oh man, what am I going to do? And they come in thinking that they need someone to help them with their calendar. And we say, no, you need leads. Like, let's get you some leads. Let's get you some sales. And then once we win that relationship, now they have more revenue. Then they might want to do organic social media, or then they might want to add some more customer support, or then they might want to do some more fancy video editing for their podcast. Or, it depends on where they're at. We try to be consultative, honestly. Like, me and my business partners still take every call for all of our partners, and we've seen so many things in so many different industries that we're not going to say, like, honestly, we don't even trust the client to know exactly what they need. So we say, okay, let's go through your business. And we basically do like a quick consulting call, like, where's the real problem? And then we say, okay, well, let's find someone that can help you solve that problem. And now, we're a very cost-effective strategy. So we're not like some high ticket consultant that you're going to pay us a lot of money. But on that one call, we can at least tell you who you think you should approach. So unfortunately, the right answer is it depends on their company. But I think, especially right now, if you can get someone that is driving, that's closer to the money, then that can be really beneficial. And we have a lot of people that do that for a lot of our clients.
Oh yes, perspective is everything. I remember having 5 gift stores for 17 years, and I would pay people, friends, people that didn't know me that well. I would pay them like secret shoppers before there was secret shoppers. I just like, what do you see? What am I missing? Because I'm looking at my business like so close to me, I can't see what other people are seeing anymore. And so that is an incredible advantage to just have that call and figure out what you're missing. And that one little adjustment can save you and make you so much more money, save you time. It's incredible. And it just factors into every area of our life when we're able to have a different perspective. So I think that's very helpful. Now let's put it into, so for me, let's say I have a small team of real estate agents, and we're working with high level clients. We're in Beverly Hills, so we have, beautiful homes, luxury homes. And we're doing showings, we're doing open houses, and then we need to do the lead generation and the paperwork and check the contracts. And I could go on for hours telling you all the things we need to do. But when a client comes in, if I need to meet them at the airport early in the morning and they want to buy in Beverly Hills from some other place, I'm going to be there. And somebody else needs to do those other things for me while I'm walking with my client to different homes. So that sounds really helpful. What would you say would be the thing that somebody like me would start with?
Yeah. So what I would do is I would try to silo out a couple of the tasks that you feel like, oh man, I missed that. Because it's better if you do it. Like, let's say, texting, like, let's say every lead that showed up to a showing, right? Even a few times, like, hey, thank you so much for, coming. Here's a link to photos, or, whatever it may be, whatever your process is. or sending out reminder emails. Hey, we're going to be here from 2 to 3 o'clock, and here's some photos of some food that we're going to have, or just these kind of like basically every single stage of the funnel. They don't know you exist, right? And you want more people to know you exist. If that's the problem, then you should probably be doing way more social media, and we could get like a social media team. And we do a fractionalized team, so it's not like one person, but it's like a couple people working together in a pod. If your problem is, I have people that know me, but then they're just not showing up or they're not responding, then you need someone that's kind of like a lead gen CRM manager, right? And what their job is to actually get them to show up to that meeting, to take them further down the funnel. And what I recommend is honestly giving them even a very small commission. Like it's wild. Like you can sell $1 million house and give them like a $100 commission, and it's like, amazing, because if you have them in the right country, it's like, wow, oh my God, this is so exciting to them, So that's one. And then if you find yourself even like, wait, like I'm difficult, I don't understand like how to prioritize, or what am I doing today, or what's my calendar, or wait, I forgot to do this thing in your personal life, we call that an executive assistant. And so that's usually for the CEO or the head of sales, or whoever the head person is. And that's kind of a catch-all. And that person, honestly, think about it like a personal assistant for like a celebrity, where it's a little bit of everything. It's like, I want lunch, and make this reservation, and I forgot to send this card to my mom on Mother's Day, and then also your calendar, and also follow up with this client, and also make sure that they have the black card that picks them up for the airport. It's kind of a combination of personal and business, but that we call an executive assistant. Now, Beverly Hills might be honestly a little bit different than like someone in the Midwest that's doing like motivated selling, flipping, right? In that case, like if you're in that type of real estate, then you probably want a cold caller, where you're getting a list of people that are late on their payments, and you call all of them and say, hey, are you thinking about buying your house? And that would be someone that's more of like a salesperson. So it unfortunately, again, the answer is like, it depends on which one of those three felt like it was the real pain point. Like, is it, oh man, I just need more leads to know who I exist? Then it's probably social media. If it's, I have a lot of people that know me, but they're just not showing up, then it's like a lead gen CRM VA. And if it's, I just need someone that I can throw anything that I need at in my personal life and in business, then it's an executive assistant. That's the way I would approach it.
Okay. That makes a lot of sense. Very helpful. Yes. Now, going back to your experience with MentorBox, which I was a member and I listened all the time and loved the books and just all the information. It was a great gift. I loved that program. So how did all that study that you did, sharing about those different books, how did that help you through that tough time?
Oh man, I think that one of my favorite books that I'm confident changed my life forever was The Obstacle is the Way by Ryan Holiday. And I still, have that picture of him like pinned, with me and him. I met him in person, and I did an interview with him. And so it was kind of surreal when I met him through MentorBox. But this idea of like control what you can control.
Yeah.
And don't think that, the world is against you. And in fact, and, Ed Milet says this, like, I don't know where he got it, but I know that he said this, is, this happened for me, not to me. And these small mindset shifts, which are just brainwashed, the more you read about this, the more you read about self-development or success or, philosophy or stoicism, there's patterns, and you read enough of them. I've read, over 500 of these types of books, and you'll notice the patterns, and they all kind of say maybe the same 20 things in different ways over and over again. And one of those core principles is control what you can control. Even, Jocko Willink, like a super military version in Extreme Ownership, he talks about that, like where he says, survey the field, like get the data, basically what's happening, and calm yourself down and make a call, like make a decision. And like, be proactive. What's the thing? That's 7 Habits of Highly Effective People. Be proactive, right? There's patterns everywhere. And the idea is this my mom said this all the time as well, like this too shall pass. Like this is, you know, a little bit, this is from the Bible, but whether or not you're Christian or not, it doesn't really matter. The point is like, will you remember this in 10 years? Tim Ferriss asked that. Like, are you going to remember this in 10 years? Are you going to remember this in 20 years? Like, probably not. Like, well, maybe I would remember this point, but you know, even if you don't, like, there's no sense in freaking out about it. Like, you fight, flight, or freeze. Like, in my opinion, fight is the best option, you know, in business. Like, you're like, just survey the field and make a decision. And it's very meta, you know. It's like that's what those kind of books do, is it like calms your brain in those situations. And you go through a series of like, okay, am I going to die? No. Okay. Is the business going to close? No. Okay. Like, you know, what's the main priority? Okay. I don't want to fire 100 people. Okay. What do I have to do to, you know, do that? Okay. I need to be really aggressive with marketing for the next 2 months. Okay. What's the best way to be, you know, you just kind of make the next decision in like a series, and then you just execute on it. And the one thing that it came to was we had a lot of leads that probably now we would say are unqualified, because we weren't sure that they were going to be around with it. Because it's one thing to say, I'm starting a business, I need help, you know, give me a BA. Like, it's one thing to say that, but we kind of know like the businesses that are probably going to stick with us for 3 years because they're solid businesses, they have solid executives, they know what they need. You know, when I ask them like, hey, what's the thing that you need help with the most? They probably can have some answer to that, and then we can actually help them. If they think, oh, I don't know, I'm just, you know, I need everything. It's like, we probably know, you know, and they don't have a lot of revenue. Like, they might stick around for 3 to 6 months, but realistically, but we temporarily said yes to those clients, which right now we would say no to, because we said, hey, listen, like, we're not doing anything wrong. Like, we're giving you a person, they're helping you in your business, you're trying. Now, will you maybe cancel them in 3 to 6 months? Maybe, but we needed that 3 to 6 month runway, you know, to kind of handle what was going on. And it's for sure. It's stoicism, honestly. Like, you know, what can I control? That's I think more foundational than anything else I've read in all of those books. But it's repeated over and over and over and over. It's like repeated in 50 of the books, you know. So it's like it's hard to not learn it.
Very good. That is a great point. That's so important. Now, what would you say for people that are listening in that are writing a book or trying to produce a book or some type of a product like a book or maybe a short course? What stood out and helped you choose the books you chose?
Yeah. So I have very strong opinions about how to write a book. So let me walk you through kind of how, because, okay. So the first thing is that it has to say something either unique or in a unique way, or in a unique way for that audience, right? So maybe, you know, the book about sales calls, like, okay, there's a lot of books about sales calls, but maybe your thing is about how you should do social selling instead of hard selling, like the opposite of what Grant Cardone says, right? And you say, okay, well, that's kind of an interesting idea. And they say, well, we're doing social selling for like moms that are real estate agents. Like, okay, now you're really the only one. And now this doesn't mean that you can't write a book on philosophy or some big idea, but you know, you better have a big idea to be able to compete at the, you know, the Nobel Prize level kind of, or you better be such a good writer like Mark Manson, like The Subtle Art of Not Giving a Fuck. Like, that's not a interesting idea. He just is a world-class writer, and he has such a unique voice that it didn't really matter what topic it was about. Like, it was going to be good because he's such a good writer. And so either you're a world-class writer or you have a unique big idea that matters to a specific audience. So start there. It's like, in one sentence, what's the thesis of this, right? Like, what am I actually saying? And then from there, you say, okay, like, why does this matter? Okay, that's usually like the introduction. It's like, why, it's almost like a sales letter to like get them to actually buy, you know, to continue reading. The introduction is always like a sales letter. No, this is why you should continue reading. And then I like to divide it into like basically 3 parts. And the first chapter is always like the entire book, but in one chapter. That's the way I like it. Nice. Because a lot of people are only going to read the first chapter, but if they read the first chapter and it's so packed with like the whole idea, they're still gonna be happy, and they're gonna talk about the book, and they're gonna get a lot of value from it. And then the first part, you're basically arguing for the concept. Okay, so the big idea that introduced in chapter 1, for the first part, you're basically just like if you're a debate or like giving like an academic paper, but you do it through storytelling. So chapter 2, 3, 4, 5, it's a nuanced argument for why what you said in chapter 1 is correct, and you come at it from slightly different angles, and you tell stories always in the beginning. So you always start with a story in the beginning of the chapter, in my opinion, whether it's personal story or something from history or whatever, just kind of tell the story, and then you give the punchline of the story, which proves this is the lesson, and then at the end of it you give a takeaway. And so now that you understand the lesson, this is what you should do. These are the actionable steps, right?
Yes.
So every single chapter should kind of end that way. Then the second version is I like to basically give like a more advanced version of it. And then at the end of the book, I try to get really tactical. Yeah. And so you'll notice this with a lot of health books. This is honestly the best way to think about it. The best way to deconstruct a book is go to like the top 10 like health books, because that's hard to write in a way that isn't boring.
Right.
And so, because it's like scientific studies and, all kinds of, weird chemistry. So you'll notice that they won't give you the actual actionable, like do this, do this, do this, do this, until like the very, very, very end of the book. And the reason why they do that partially is so that you'll read to the end. But more importantly is that they're basically arguing up to the end, because the recipe is probably 1 page long. Like, yes. The recipe of the obstacle is the way is like 1 page long. It's like, okay, so things are going to happen to you. Some are going to be good. Some are going to be bad. Don't get too high. Don't get too low. And then whenever bad things happen, whatever you learn is probably going to be the best thing that ever happened to you. So don't be afraid of failure. Like, there you go. There's the book.
Yes.
And honestly, but the whole, like the first 300 pages is just to get you to like really buy into it, so that when they give you the recipe at the end, you're convinced and it's not just kind of thrown away and forgotten. So that's how, I don't know, that was maybe too detailed, but that's how
that was incredible. Whoever's writing the book, I'm actually working on a real estate book now. So yes, that was very helpful. And whoever is an author listening in, that was an incredible takeaway. Now, how would someone apply working with a virtual assistant if they are a business owner that's also trying their best to get this book out?
Oh yeah, for sure. Yeah. So we have a lot of clients that are authors. We have tons of clients that are authors. And honestly, it depends on where they are in the process. So if you are in the book writing stage, then you can get a copywriting VA to do a lot of the drafts for you, where you can dictate, you can make decisions, but they're going to basically be your research assistant. You can say something like, okay, chapter 3 is going to be about, why this is what's happening in the market and why, therefore, you should do this and this and this. And then you can tell them, find 5 examples from history that prove this point, find 5 things that's happened in the last year in the news that proves this point, and find 5 academic studies that are interesting and prove this point. Okay, so then they say, okay, great. So then they give you, 15 basically stories and interesting anecdotes that'll spice up the writing. And then you say, okay, and you always tell them to like make them in order. This is one thing. Like, you don't let them just be like, here's a bunch of stuff on the wall. Like, make them make a decision. Like, if you were in charge, what would be the story? Well, that's number 1 would be this one. Number 2 would be this one. Number 3, I think you might disagree with them and you say, actually, I like number 4 because of this reason. But nonetheless, you have to encourage them to make decisions. In fact, demand them to make decisions so that you're not have to read everything. Right. Then from there, now you can say, write a draft, right? Literally, you could have your research assistant be a copywriter, and especially with ChatGPT and like different things, you can like kind of, get the first draft moved along really, really fast. And then after the book is actually done, then you could hire, let's say, a designer for 1 month, right? And you say, okay, I'm going to hire a designer for 1 month, and they're going to make all of the assets. I'm going to rebrand everything on my social media. Right. I need the book cover. I need, all of the graphical things that, you're kind of struggling with on Canva or PowerPoint. You just hire a designer for like 1 month to help you there. And then what I would do, if you already have a website, then do a website. But then I would have a VA or someone from us, like we can make your landing page. So now you have a landing page and you say, okay, now there's a way to buy the book. And in my experience, like a book is only as good as as is a lead magnet.
Yes.
And so, don't think of the book as like the end all be all. Like the Pareto principle is so extreme in the book publishing industry. It's like 99% of the sales come from 20 authors, like every single year. So, you thinking that you're going to be like, some Pulitzer Prize winning thing. It's like maybe your third or fourth or fifth or sixth or seventh book, but like, in the beginning, you want to make some money off of it and you want to feel good. And so what I would do is I would create a funnel where the book is just the first step. And then maybe they book a call with you, or they go to your coaching, or they go to your mastermind, or a lot of people are going to want more one-on-one help. Or even if you're fiction, like, you could say for an extra, $99 a month, you get, a weekly call where we discuss the book and the idea and the characters. And, so you can always, even in fiction, you can always add an upsell. So I would create a funnel. And then I would make the launch date like at least 3 to 6 months in advance once everything's done.
Right.
Like minimum. And then I would hire basically a social media team, and they would, just push and push and push and get buzz and pre-orders and, just do proper marketing on social media. So that's how I would approach it. I would do like a copywriter for the first, until the book is done, a designer probably for 1 month. Then I would, if I can build my funnel, I would do it myself, but you could hire like a team to do that, and then hire a social media team for like 6 months. And so like, this is the type of thing that we do for clients. And this is why having an outsourced like staffing agency rather than a marketing agency is a little bit better, because we do, for example, month to month. Whereas if you talk to a marketing agency, they're going to make you sign a 6-month contract, and they're going to only do Facebook ads. And they're going to say, well, no, we're not going to help you with your book. Whereas if you have a staffing agency that has a copywriting department and a social media department and a web development department, and like if you have all these different departments, then under one roof, you can kind of get everything you need and not have to pay for anything that you don't.
Oh, that's nice. As an entrepreneur, I don't know how many hats I've worn.
Yeah.
And you have to, but sometimes it's just so much easier to hire when you can. And something like what you're offering, then you don't have to, you're going to need something this month in one of those millions of areas that you just mentioned.
Yeah, exactly.
For sure. So that's really wonderful. That frees up a lot of time, and then you can get things done faster. So very helpful. That's wonderful. Now, how do people get started with something like this? Like, I always think if I hire a VA, I'm going to have to tell them what to do. So I have to figure out what to tell them what to do. Do you see where I get caught?
Yeah, of course. I think instead of thinking about the exact task, I would approach it as the KPI. So, listing out like, what are the things that I would like to have done without me having to think about it. And if you hire the right VA, like honestly, it sounds crazy, but the difference between like $4 an hour and like $5.50 an hour is, it feels like nothing. It's like, oh, well, it's like a buck or two, but in their currency, it's 50% more. So it's like, imagine getting someone, think about it. Like imagine someone that got paid 60,000 versus someone that got paid 110. Like you would expect a different energy from them. Right. So if you pay a little bit more, it's not crazy. It's not like you're paying like even minimum wage, in the US. It's still less than minimum wage. But if you pay a little bit more, like a lot of our VAs have literally master's degrees. Like, they speak 3 languages, they have a master's degree, like they're really, really high level. And you can give them something like a KPI. We're like, okay, I never want to worry about my calendar ever. I want to follow up to, everyone that showed up to the events. Here's like the 7 people in my life that matter. Make sure that like we're doing anniversaries and birthdays and blah, blah, blah. And also, I'd like some help with some like Canva design, for social media or something. Like these are the main things that I would need, right? And if you give them that, if they're smart and you vet them correctly and you work with an agency that vets them correctly, then they should be able to reverse engineer the how, right? And now that really is what you're looking for. You're looking for someone that can, now if it's like a hyper particular weird thing where you're like, okay, I need you to do this in Asana, CRM, and I need you to connect it with, it's like, okay, well, you either got to teach them that or you got to be okay with them like watching tutorials and learning it for a week. And like, you can't expect someone to know everything, obviously. It's just like an employee in-house. But That's what I recommend. It's like, don't think about it in terms of tasks. Think about it in things of like things that I don't want to worry about anymore. And then give them the freedom to figure out the how. And if you hire someone from Upwork or like, just some random agency in the Philippines or something, I've done this, by the way. Like, I've spent hundreds of thousands of dollars on Upwork, like personally. So, this is part of the reasons why I built this company, is like to solve my own problem. And one of the things that you find is that it's very transactional. Whereas if you have a VA that's full time, that you're committing to them for full time, then you're building that culture, and they're vested in your success. And they want you to win, and they become a part of what you're doing, and they get excited about things, and they say, okay, let me try this, and let me try that, and let me try this. And so as things evolve, honestly, anyone that has a resume that doesn't include doing something with AI, like nowadays, like everything can be using AI, but no one has a resume with AI because it's all 6 months old. So back to first principles, like you really just need someone that's smart and ambitious, that likes learning, that's bought into your culture, because whatever they did 2 years ago is probably irrelevant nowadays anyways, so it's like so you just want, like Naval Ravikant says this. He says you should hire for integrity, number one, energy, which is basically like ambition, and he calls it intelligence, but just like someone that can learn quickly, so that they can stay on the cutting edge. So if you hire the right person, it's you don't have to worry about that. They'll keep busy. And then also, like, for example, with us, this is another thing. We keep hourly score. So there's no hiding. There's no like, oh, well, Sheila didn't tell me to do anything. It's like, no, you are working so we always, whenever we onboard clients, we always like have backup. It's like, okay, if they don't have that, what should they do? It's like, if they don't have that, what should they do? If they don't have that, and we set that up on onboarding call. Like, our managers will set that up on onboarding call, because we've seen this before. We know visionary entrepreneurs that are got a million things going on, and they just literally don't reply for like 3 days. And it's like, okay, well, this is what I did for 3 days while you were gone, because you don't want someone, whereas someone on Upwork is like, oh, I didn't do anything because you didn't tell me to do, because they're not bought into the success of your company.
Right. Yeah, because you don't want to have to tell them so much that you're working, telling them what to do.
Exactly.
Which, that's the wrong employee or the wrong VA. And that can happen. So that's important. So a company like yours is really going to make that impossible. So you don't have to worry about that situation.
Yeah.
That's great. That's wonderful. So now, where can people sign up if they're interested in learning more about what you're offering?
Yeah, I really like how you put your number, and I'm like, man, the next time I do it, I'm going to put my website on the, so it's just VirtualWorkerNow.com. It's very on the nose. So that's like literally what we do. We provide virtual workers in all sorts of different fields, and we have a full-time recruit. Like, we get about 200 applications a day. So we're vetting. We have a full HR department, full recruiting process. So you usually talk to me or one of my business partners. We're still heavily involved with our partnerships because the lifetime value of those relationships are so high. And because of that consultative aspect of the first call, like, we want to make sure that we're providing we don't like say, oh, you should get this and this and this and this and sign up, for a year-long contract in advance. Like, we do the opposite of that. We're like, start with one person.
Nice.
And, it's a month to month. Like, we just want to build this long relationship and, build positive relationships and testimonials and case studies and referrals. And that's our whole model. We don't do any paid marketing. So we've grown to where we are because people refer their friends, and, we're really proud of that. Anyways, virtualworkernow.com. You can schedule a call. It'll be probably with me or one of my business partners. And we can just chat about what you're up to, and if it's a good fit, what we do is we'll do a quick job description of what we think would be good, and then we look at our database of all of the people that are already vetted through our system and have already had interviews, and we say, hey, we think that these 2 or 3 people would be great. And it's full time, so we're going to send you their resumes. We're going to send you we usually send you a voice note. Basically, they introduce themselves to you. They say, like, hi, I'm Jonathon. Sheila, would love to work with you. Would love to have a call, And so you can kind of just hear them introducing themselves. And then if you want to interview any of them, we'll set up an interview. And just like we basically do all the recruiting for free. You don't have to pay anything. And then if you decide I don't like anyone, then we'll find more people. And if you still don't like people, it's fine. No big deal. We tried. And if you like someone, then then we start. But basically, think of us as like your HR team that you don't have to pay.
Nice. Very good. Well, thank you, Jonathon. And now to end, I just wanted to, this is the question I always ask. If you could go back in time, what advice would you give your younger self?
Oh man, how young, huh? I would say start reading nonfiction sooner.
Mm,
So I have this idea, that's kind of vague, but I've always wanted to be a writer a novelist in particular, and I've read all of the great American authors, and I was really into fiction, and I thought that, well, if you want to be a great writer, you have to read more fiction, and I would read some nonfiction, but it was about how to write.
mm-hmm.
So it was about storytelling and writing and character development. And so all the nonfiction, it was like I was obsessed with like becoming a good fiction writer.
Mm-hmm.
And what I didn't realize was that every single profession, every single business, there's patterns for your mental health and your physical health and your strategy and decision making and marketing and sales and branding and and mindset, and all of these things also apply to writers. And I think that when I really kind of blossomed was when I started reading nonfiction. And I dabbled a little in Tony Robbins and Think and Grow Rich and things like that, but like to really go hardcore into nonfiction sooner, I think would have given me a crazy competitive advantage. Like if you're in your early 20s and you're reading like a book a week in like nonfiction, like you're going to be such a killer compared to your peers. Like it's compared to anyone, but early 20s nonfiction every week, like you would just destroy the world, and I mean that in a good way, like
Right.
you would be so much better. So I think that would have sped up my process.
Very good. All right. So everybody get your books and
Yeah.
schedule a call for your VA so you have time to read.
Yeah, nice. Thanks for that.
Yes. Well, thank you again, Jonathon. It was great to have you as a guest on the show. And for those tuning in, we'll be back after these. And here is a question from one of our listeners about parenting and elder care. I have been a caregiver of my father for close to 10 years. He is a disabled veteran. I am a single woman of 3 adult children, and I am the only one who is able to care for him. I am so incredibly honored to get to care for my father. In the daily activities, I get exhausted with the tasks of managing treatment schedules. My social and personal life is very much on the back burner. My father shares his guilty feelings with me and says he is a burden. I assure my dad he's not. I want some help with his caregiving and feel that I am being inadequate with his efforts for feeling this way. Would you be able to offer me some navigation with looking for options to help me secure some resources to assist me with my dad? Also, how can I take some time to press the reset button to help me find some personal time for myself? Signed, Too Tired to Think. Dear Too Tired to Think, well, it is an honor to have such a beautiful daughter. Your dad must be an amazing man and a veteran. That's wonderful that you're helping him so much, although it sounds like it is too much. And the thing about being a parent, I don't know if you have children yourself as well, but the thing about being a parent is we want our children to have their best lives as well. So although it's honorable that you are helping your dad so much, the beauty that he is a veteran is that there are so many extra services to help him. So between those services and the services that are around to help people that need care, there are so many options for you to get free and low-cost services to help you care for your dad at this time so that you can be his daughter and be present with him to have magic moments and time together to enjoy. In my book and on my website, I have a list of resources for veterans and also for people that need elder care and assisted living and different types of home health options and referral agencies that you can connect with that will help you get your dad all taken care of and helped
so that you can just enjoy that time together. And also, there's another chapter in there that's how to have self-care and personal time. So you recharge, and when your dad spends time with you and you can talk about your memories and build some more magic moments together, that's going to be a great gift to him. And I hope this really helps. I'm so thankful that you wrote in about this, because I'm sure there's a lot of other people out there in the same situation that don't know about all the different services that are available for their parents who do need care. And I had to take care of both sets of grandparents, both sets of parents, all at once. I was very young and I had no clue, and that's why I felt it was very important to have a whole list of different referral services that can help get you connected and get help for your family members.
KCAARADIO, the station that leaves no listener behind. I'm your host, Sheila Mac, and this portion of the show is all about real estate strategies for your dream lifestyle. So in this portion, I'm going to help you to discover the benefits of buying either a vacation home or a second main home. I'm your host, Sheila Mac, and I am a licensed real estate agent with Keller Williams Beverly Hills. Today, we'll explore the incredible opportunities and advantages of owning a second property, especially if you're in California. We'll also share inspiring success stories from happy families who have turned their dreams into reality. So sit back, relax, and let's dive into the world of vacation homes and or second homes. Now, picture this. You're living in the bustling city of beautiful Beverly Hills, California, enjoying the excitement and luxury that it offers. But you also yearn for a peaceful retreat, a place where you can escape from the fast-paced city life. That's exactly what Paul and Kathy felt like. My clients, yes, they made the decision to sell their home in Beverly Hills and move to the beautiful suburb of Summerlin, Nevada. Let's hear about their story. So Paul and Kathy were seeking a change, a shift towards a more relaxed and serene lifestyle. They wanted to be closer to nature and enjoy the benefits of a golf resort community. By selling their Beverly Hills property, they were actually able to unlock a world of opportunities. The first thing I helped them do is, of course, sell their home, and they negotiated to purchase a beautiful rental property also in the Los Angeles Beverly Hills area. So they kept one of the 4 units they purchased as their vacant home, and that is where they stay, and also where their family and friends can come and visit and stay. This allowed them to maintain a connection to their roots while embarking on a new adventure. But that's not all. You see, the pricing of homes is really affordable over in these beautiful communities. Lake Las Vegas, Summerlin, Las Vegas, Nevada is incredible. It is just one flight away. We have a beautiful private, semi-private JSX Air, who I love, and no, they're not paying for that plug, but I love them. It's almost like a chartered flight, and it's very affordable. You can be back in California at your job or visiting with family and friends. It's a 30-minute or so flight, and literally you just have to show up 20 minutes in advance. So it's pretty easy to do, and it's faster than a commute to the valley or to the beach. Now, one of the fantastic benefits for Paul and Kathy of living in Nevada is that as long as you reside in Nevada for 6 months and 2 days, you can be considered a resident. This residency status allowed them to save thousands of dollars in state tax payments while fueling their dream vacation lifestyle. Paul and Kathy's story is one example of how owning a vacation home or a second home or a home that becomes your main residence can enhance your life in numerous ways. It's about finding a home that serves you and complements your desired lifestyle rather than the other way around. When you have a place to retreat to, a place where you can relax and recharge, it brings a whole new level of fulfillment. That's right. So Kathy and Paul are able to just hop on one of the JSX flights, go back and forth, and they stay in their beautiful, one of their units. They got 4 units, condos that were really nice, and rented the others out. And so they're just doing really well. They increased their cash flow. They actually were able to pay their home off in the Summerlin area, and they also have the cash flow from the other tenants paying for their mortgage on that passive income investment that they have, where they have their second little home, and so they are doing real well. Basically, the tenants are paying off their mortgage. They're paying that down quickly, because then all that income will become just passive rental income, while providing them with the option of living in both areas throughout the year and enjoying the seasons and the fun that Las Vegas has, as well as the beauty of Beverly Hills in California. Now, they are just one example of how owning this vacation home, second home, can enhance your life in numerous ways. It's about finding a home that serves you and complements your desired lifestyle, rather than the other way around. Okay, so when you have a place to retreat, a place where you can relax and recharge, it brings a whole new level of fulfillment. So one of the questions I always ask my clients is this simple question. Think about this. Is your house serving you, or are you at the point where you're serving your house? And how can we flip that around? So I am a lifestyle coach, consultant, and also a licensed real estate agent. I also teach courses online directly to real estate agents regarding 1031 exchanges, commercial investing, and actually help other agents to create a lifestyle that they desire with real estate property investments. So there's many different ways to work with me. I actually have an incredible team, and so I do lots of referral work, and I also handhold you through the process to make sure that you are getting your needs met. So if you'd like to contact me, I'd love to set up a strategy session with you. So you might be wondering how you can get started on your own journey towards owning a vacation home or a second home. Now, just to give you an example, home prices are in the mid to high 300,000s, of course, on up to $1 million plus, depending on what you like. And some of those prices, even on the lower range, are in beautiful gated resort style communities with all the amenities. So it's a pretty nice way to make a change and enjoy both worlds. Now, as a licensed real estate agent with Keller Williams Beverly Hills, I do specialize in real estate strategies that help you live the life you've always wanted. Whether you're looking for a serene beachfront property, a cozy cabin in the mountains, or a luxurious golf resort home, I can guide you through the process and help you find the perfect fit for your dreams. If you're ready to take the next step, I encourage you to join our mastermind today. Our community of like-minded individuals shares valuable insights, experiences, and resources to support you and your goals and your real estate journey. Building wealth, creating wealth for you that's generational wealth. You can also visit my website at SheilaMac.com, SheilaMac.com, and fill out a contact form to learn how I can assist you in turning your dreams into reality. Or if you'd like to really get started, schedule a consult with me today. Thank you again for tuning into this section of the show on real estate strategies for your dream lifestyle. I hope you found it inspiration in Paul and Kathy's story and are excited about the possibilities that owning a vacation home or a second home or a new first main home can bring to your life and your pocketbook. Remember, it's all about finding a home that serves you and helps people you live with and helps you to design the life you've always wanted. Until next time, this is Sheila Mac signing off. And again, you can reach me also direct. Call the Keller Williams office at 310-432-6400 and ask for Sheila Mac. My team and I will coordinate a strategy session with you to get started on creating the life of your dreams. Messages, stay tuned. All right, thank you. Tune in again right here on KCAA, the station that leaves no listener behind.
Have you lost your job? Have you lost a loved one? Are you exhausted caring for your parents, for your kids? Well, you can find immediate relief when you read Sheila Mac's new #1 bestseller, Bootstraps and Bra Straps. It contains the Boots formula to move from rock bottom back into action in any situation, especially right now. If life has knocked you down, pick yourself up with Bootstraps and Bra Straps. Get your copy at www.SheilaMac.com today.